You're listening to the Endless Party Radio Show with the Doc on Colossal Radio.
Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Endless Party Radio Show, and I know the team just made a post on this guest that we have on board with the show, and I think it's very important to bring this teenager. And let me point out, terminally ill teenager. I mean, he certainly knows the outcome and where this is all going to end up. And he's got a great message. He's making a difference, and he's doing it in a short amount of time. We had a great conversation before we went on the air for the last few minutes. But it gives me great pleasure to welcome Eric Erdman to the show. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good.
Good. I guess, so let's start right here. Let's start right from the top. Your condition. What is your condition? How do we even say what your condition is? What is it exactly?
Yeah, I mean, heck, when you get so many long letters, that's when you know it becomes worse. So, so my stages have changed. I was a stage 3, and now I'm a stage 4. So, initially, I got diagnosed with a stage 3 anaplastic brain tumor. Sorry, anaplastic ependymoma brain tumor. And so, what this is a rare kind of brain cancer. Only 200 kids worldwide get diagnosed, and only 52 adolescents get diagnosed. So adolescents for cancer, it's 14 to 19, and I got diagnosed when I was 16, and I'm 20 now. So it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah. So was this really? Was what you have with this rare form, again, is on board here with Eric Erdman, and we're not just going to talk about cancer or what he has, but the message that he is that he is all about. But was this cancer? Was it found by accident? Were there symptoms? Were there warning signs? How did this all come about?
Oh man, this is a long story. So
that's okay.
This one, it's weird how it basically ended up, the things we went through. So I was having headaches for about, let's say, 3 weeks. The 1 week after my work, I came back. I was telling my mom my head was hurting, and we thought it was my glasses. So I wear contacts, and I thought it was like my vision. So we went there. They dilated my eyes, and they gave me new contacts. So I thought it was that. I was wearing my contacts, and then, it still was hurting. So it definitely wasn't my eyesight.
Right.
So I would say like about 4 days later, it got really bad, and I went up to like the closest urgent care place. So where we live, we don't have a hospital. So my town's only like about 2,500 people. So we're a really small town. So it's just like that quick stop emergency care thing that we have. So my mom took me up, and so the doctor that was there actually. So I didn't get a CAT scan. So at that time, since being 16. That was against the law, because you have to, if a minor is having head problems or whatever, you have to give them a CAT scan. And so the doctor didn't give me a CAT scan, and then he just marked it down as I was having tension headaches. And which is crazy though. So later did I found out that where he was pushing, so he was pushing on my brainstem, and that was where my first ever tumor was. And at the time, they said, when I actually, got the news of getting diagnosed, they said I had it in for a total year. What's more crazy is I played football. I started when I was 6 years old, and I played up until, I got diagnosed. So where he was pushing, that's where the tumor was.
Mm-hmm.
And so after, a couple of days go by, I, was walking home from work, and my head, it got, really bad. It wasn't no normal, like, migraine.
Right.
It became, it was terrible, to say the least. I was in the bathroom throwing up,
Wow.
and to me, initially I thought, okay, I guess I'm sick, so I was throwing up, and then I started having, like sweats. They would, like, come and go, and I was, like, laying on the bathroom floor, and then I had to keep throwing up. Like, I don't know, I thought I was sick, and I threw up blood. So my brother, I believe he was at work, and my mom, she was at the grocery store. So I texted her and said, emergency room now, and after all of that, she picked me up. I don't remember a single thing. I, like, kind of blacked out after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so from getting from all those, like, issues, throwing up and headaches, that's how, the doctor determined, it was a huge mass in my brain. So when we got so where I'm from, there is, I live in Pennsylvania, and we have, like, two main hospitals. The one hospital doesn't, the one hospital has more experts in certain areas, and the other hospital doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we went to the one hospital that didn't have many experts, and they did an MRI and said it was a large mass. Immediately, since I was in high school at that time, and, I took biology, I initially thought cancer because I always think, large mass,
Sure.
Cancer is tumor.
Right.
And so it turned out that when I arrived at Hershey Hospital, that's my main hospital now, they actually, diagnosed me as stage 3 anaplastic ependymoma brain cancer.
And there's nothing then with that. We're on board with Eric Erdman, and yes, we are talking about a very rare form of cancer that he has. But there's also a message on this, so stick with me, everybody. So, what part of Pennsylvania? I mean, we're right here out of Carbon County, PA. Lehigh Valley is just a little further south of us. So, where do you call home? What's our city of home in here in Pennsylvania for you, Eric?
So it's Millersburg. It's a really small town. So,
okay.
You know where Harrisburg is?
I do.
So we're about, I would say, 45 minutes away from Harrisburg.
Okay. All right. I got you.
And something I should add on my whole journey with cancer and everything else that I've been through. So, to date now, I've had 4 brain surgeries, 3 rounds of radiation, a clinical trial, which is basically, it basically goes rat, monkey, and then the person who's getting tested on.
Okay.
And then so I had a clinical trial, which, they called it chemotherapy, but the drugs, they never seen a combination like that. And so I've had all that, but up until now, I'm the first ever stage 4 of my kind in the United States. And now with, what my whole journey has been through with all my surgeries and, treatments, there's nothing more they can do on the table. It's just, the amount of months I have left. So actually, last year, August, they've said that you have about 6 months left to live. And so this is the final month. But it's weird to me because I don't feel sick. Yes, I have cancer, but it doesn't make you, the only thing that makes you feel sick is when you get on radiation or chemo.
Sure.
I feel fine. I
Right.
feel 100%.
Right.
It's just from all of my surgeries. My walking is really bad, so I either have to use a walker or get in my wheelchair.
How old are you, Eric?
20.
20 years old.
Yeah.
So it's really affected everything. You have now taking this to a different level. Let me before I get into give a child a voice, something that you started. It's hard to put ourselves in a position that you're in, knowing that you have about a month to live or less. And how is it with mom and your family and brothers and yourself?
I mean, I feel like I'm okay, but with something that my mom said actually, but it feels a lot better. She said to like the family, let not focus on like the bad right now. Let's actually make good with the time we have left. And
Right.
Yeah, the family. I know, like, it's hard because right now all my for my pain stuff, for like my headaches, I have so much stuff that probably could bring an ox down.
Wow, that's man. This gets put in so much perspective for those of us that complain about so many of the little things and issues that we have at hand. And then we have somebody like you, and who we have on the show with us, Eric Erdman, who, when you put this in perspective for a mother that gave birth to her child 20 years ago, and knowing that, she'll, not see him much any longer. But, as Eric just said, we're focusing on the good and what we can do to make it better, to collectively come together, put aside our differences, act like adults, where some people don't. I mean, a lot of people I see act like dicks, and then they want to call out other idiots, and it's like, you have a different message that you're doing here, and it's starting with the kids, but you've seen so much that you're really bridging the gap, if you will. Tell me a little bit about this Give a Child a Voice. You talk also about, I think, at one time being bullied, correct?
Yeah. So Give a Child a Voice. It's so it's a foundation that my mom and I started,
Mm-hmm.
and so the long name, so Give a Child a Voice is what we're doing business as. That's the short name of it, but it's the T.E.K Foundation CC Incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
So why, so with the long name, what people don't know, so some of the letters in, are that T.E.K Foundation CC are, like my brother. So the T is, so in the long name, so the T in T.E.K is my brother Tyler, and then the E is Eric, and the K is my brother Kyle, who passed away. We were actually 11 days apart, which is crazy.
And what did he pass away from?
So I was born 1 pound and 15 ounces, and he was born 1 pound and I believe 8 ounces,
Mm-hmm.
and he sadly didn't make it, through.
Gotcha.
After he was, yeah.
Boy, man, gosh.
And so the CC, so that means childhood cancer, but it also means so it's my cousin, so it's Cole, so the one C, and then the last C is my brother's friend Chris. So why that is because when I was in the hospital, every single time, all three of them would, be on my side, helping me, do whatever, wipe my butt, help me shower.
Sure.
Yeah. So it takes a team, to do a lot. And so with the foundation, I won't make it too long. So it focused on three main things. It focused on child abuse, bullying, and life-threatening illness. So, that I have cancer. So these three things, why those three things was because, I went through all of them. And, no, I didn't get abused by my mom. Come on now. I know some people will probably think it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so, when I was 11 through 13, so those 3 years, I got abused, all the, those years. And, I felt like I was, alone, like an outcast. But, it hurt a lot, during that time. And on top of that, kids used to pick on me. Actually, so when I was abused at that time, that's when I became a victim of bullying.
And were you abused by we don't have to get into particulars. Were you abused by an adult?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then when you became abused, then you ended up being on the other end of bullying.
Well, yeah. So the bullying was from school. So
right.
So since being so premature like I was as a baby, I needed help with math, reading, writing, like etc. Like all that stuff, and I used to get pulled out of classes a lot, and that's the kids seeing that as a weakness, and it's sad because it was a dark time like in my past, but I don't like hate all these people who bullied me. I feel hurt for them. They're because you gotta think about it. They're probably living a really bad life. Their parents might be abusing them, or it's hard at home. So you can't always go to shame on you, because it's hard, and
Great point.
3 years after I was abused and bullied, then I got diagnosed with brain cancer.
Jesus.
And so going through this whole path of brain cancer, it's been good. There's good and bad. My thing is, I say that cancer. Now, the people who are listening, don't take this as this is just my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So cancer, in my experience, was the best thing that ever happened to me. The reason why is, before, since I was abused and bullied, I became introverted, and I was an outcast. I didn't, find my voice, if you will, and speak up about, what I went through. And when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I told myself, screw it, life's too short, and I opened up and talked about everything. And, I started a foundation, not really off of my cancer, just off of, finding my voice, and so basically, then we added on child abuse, bullying, and, the life-threatening illness. So, I tell people all the time, my main message with this foundation is, what I learned from, my short life has been to, don't be silent. It's more, I would say, hurtful to be silent, and it's easier to break the silence and tell what you're going through. Because, say if a kid's being bullied and they don't talk to anyone, it's going to keep happening and happening. And for me, it, piled up on my shoulders, and I buried everything in my closet, if you will. And, it was hard. And my main message is just, speak out. You know, some people that you don't think will, you know, realize that, okay, like you don't trust them, just tell somebody.
Right.
Because my biggest thing was I never told anybody. And, you know, it went on for years. And that was my biggest mistake. And I think, you know, giving, you know, children a platform to, you know, speak out about, you know, what they're going through or what they went through, it totally means a lot because, you know, they're the future of everything. And I wish that I would have known that from, you know, from when I was little, but, you know, I never did. But now, you know, if kids are listening or parents are listening, you know, just tell your son or daughter, or if you're a guardian taking care of someone, you know, tell them, like, ask them, like, their story, like, are you okay? And not, like, actually, like, a serious answer, are you okay? Like, do you need help with anything?
Right.
Yeah, for me, you know, keeping everything inside, you know, it hurt a lot. And I think it would have been much easier to, you know, tell my mom because, yeah, and people ask me this, so, yeah, during that time, I did have a loving mother and loving brother. But for me, when you go through this stuff, what people don't realize is you feel alone. You feel like you can't trust anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt. Yeah. And when I finally opened up about that, it was like weight lifted off my shoulders.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet. We have, you know, and I want to just take this opportunity to mention this, but there's an anti-bullying campaign that I think it starts in and around noontime till about 6 at locally at the Franklin Township Fire Company on Monday, the 17th. And it is open to the public. They have speakers coming in. They have even people from the DA's office and the Carbon Monroe Pike mental health people that are going to be there. You know, educating people on this program, anti-bullying program that is going on at the Franklin Township Fire Company on Monday. And you're welcome to attend. It'll at noon, so it's during the day. It's a day where some people are off with President's Day, and it'll go on to like 6, 7 o'clock that night on Monday, the February 17th. Just wanting to take a moment to put that and interject that as we're on the phone with Eric Erdman, who you heard is very open about a situation when, you know, he was abused as a child. Was this person ever, and I don't want to focus on this, but was this person ever caught? Has he ever been?
So myself, I forgave. So there's one of my family members, and I forgave that person. Not like, so I didn't fully forgive, but I came to a point, and since, you know, thinking about cancer all the time, right, I came to a point where I was like, I don't hate you, I just don't respect you. That's the thing.
Right. And
yeah, I mean, I do have a relationship with this person, but it's stuff, you know, that was, you know, broken like inside will never be repaired. And,
well, like I said, I don't want to focus on that at all because, as you said earlier in this interview, they have these people have more of a cross to bear and others to answer to when the time comes. I think you have been certainly instrumental in your focus on what you want to do, the advice that you gave others, that those are the parents that are listening to us, to become totally engrossed with your child, to make sure they're okay. And there's going to be times that your child is not going to tell you something, but you know, to be there for them always, at any time of the day or night, and to truly show, as Eric said, ask them questions that show them that you really are concerned and that you care. And I do that with my own son time and time again. And I probably 3, 4 times, maybe 5 times a day, I'll say, "Is everything okay?" And don't lie to me. I will help you out with anything. I will protect you from anyone, and I will do it my own way. But I need to know everything's good, and I stay on that with him all the time. And I also tell him how proud I am, and that I love him 100 times a day. Whether he only hears it 50, I tell him 100 times a day. I love the idea of give a child a voice. If somebody wants to be part of this, they can find this. They can find this online, Eric.
Yes, and we're also on Facebook too,
Okay.
and Twitter and Instagram.
I know.
Yeah, sorry, you can go.
No. I was just going to say I know Dave, my publicist, who in turn reached out to your publicist with what you're doing. In a very short amount of time, a month or less, that you have on this earth to make a difference and to say, don't be afraid. If first of all you're being abused and or bullied on any level, let alone then carrying this cancer with you that only 200 people in the world even have, and with a short amount of time left here trying to make a difference. It is absolutely amazing. So we will have these links posted. I know Dave will get to that. We'll have these links on our Facebook page that you can also check out, those of you that are hanging out with the show. But I think it's a wonderful message. What were you going to say, Eric? Did you have a thought?
Yeah, when I was, during that time when I was, bullied, and I was basically, didn't have a voice. I was someone's piece to their story of their own book. Then after I spoke, I became the author of my own story. And what I've, nerds did with cancer is life's too short. Life's too short to, be angry about something. Even if it's too little. And I understand, people get frustrated, but, life's too short. I like to say that, life is like a bookshelf, because, all the books, like life, are big and small. Meaning, some people live, longer, and some people do not. Sadly, my book is short, but I'm just happy that I can finally be the author of my own story.
I think, and again, what you said right there, life is short. We all make our mistakes, some worse than others. We all are guilty of saying and doing things. I don't know anybody that is not on every level. But I think when you live in that world always, sometimes, more times than not, gets to be a very lonely place. I think, the best way to go about change, as you said too, is life is short. Maybe be a little more humble and compassionate and have forgiveness, and try to meet somewhere in in the middle. It goes for a lot of things with what you're doing and what you're promoting as a 20-year-old who will not be around too much longer, and within a month is what they've given you. You have tremendous strength, absolutely. Tremendous strengths, and it's. I love the message that you have. Those of you that will go on Facebook, that are online, give a child a voice. Eric Erdman, you'll see it right there out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania, not too far from us. And I would invite you to even give his page a like, and just say hi to Hi to Eric. Those of you that are on board, it's a great message, and I don't know. I don't know where else to go with this. It's it makes me sad a little bit, and I know you don't want people to be sad, but certainly it certainly makes you sad to know that you're so strong-willed, and you have a short amount of time left here. It's pretty. It's a heck of a ride. So anyway, let's. Do we have any hobbies? Let's talk about a couple of hobbies here, though. Too. Do you have any hobbies? I mean, how's our appetite? I know you're on meds and everything else. Because what I would be doing is I'd be getting every single woman in and around Millersburg to bring me freaking pizza. Pizza and beer. And I'd make sure, even though you're 20, I'd say, you know what? Bring me pizza, beer, and wings, and show up naked. That's what I'd be telling them.
Really, most of my time is focused on the foundation, just running it. And I would say other time, I used to have a service dog. She actually just passed away a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. But now I've been playing video games and just keeping my mind off stuff.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. What can we do? What can we do to help? What can we do to help you grow this foundation? I mean, what do we need to do with the people that I can certainly promote, not only on this interview, but something that we can touch base on as far as a Facebook post to encourage people to help you grow this foundation, which is all about kids and give a child a voice. What do we need to do?
So actually, when you're on the page on Facebook, it actually it directs you to our website, and if you spread the word, we actually have a GoFundMe like that kind of recently started, or like midway. So we actually. It was a couple of months back, but we launched a national gym giveaway. So when Make-A-Wish approached, they wanted to ask me what my wish would be, and Make-A-Wish's budget was $14,000, which is a lot of money. But for building a weight room for a high school, $14,000 for weight equipment, it doesn't go far. So, for my Make-A-Wish, I from their connections and from with the foundation, from our little connections we had, we ended up actually giving my high school a $300,000 weight room, which was insane. And so from after that, we actually, from the foundation, not from any really donors, but from the foundation, we did our rival school's high school gym as well. And so now with this national gym giveaway, so so I'm picking the final gym. So I traveled to Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles, California, to meet with these the two schools that were the finalists for this national gym giveaway. And we're doing a GoFundMe to do this gym, and hopefully we raise enough, and maybe we could do both gyms. So on our website, we have a GoFundMe if you want to donate, but if you just want to spread the word, yeah, absolutely, that would mean a lot.
I think something that you started and coming from a background, certainly from a loving mom and family, and that things can take a turn that you don't even expect, and not only from being bullied, but then, as you said, I think your timeline was like 2 years later that you were diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer, and at that time only giving 5 or 6 months to live, and now within your last stage of life as we know it on Earth, what you are a very commendable young man, and building this foundation to do something for kids that boys and girls that come from maybe a dark place, a great home, but coming from a dark place and are afraid to speak out, and we hear about that all the time. And go ahead.
No, I just said thank you so much.
No, it's very. It's just even as adults, adults with your message. How important is it, Eric? When you look at things, I mean, you're a young adult, and we wish we had you around much longer. But even as an adult, how important is it to get along? Because of a ride being so short. What's your take on that?
So this is going to sound crazy, but when I was helping, I was so narrow-minded that I really didn't basically go out of my way as much as with the foundation, because as a human, we want to support your family, and you go to work, you go home, and it's just an everyday repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how myself, my older brother, my mom, that's how our lives has been. And since now, when I got diagnosed, everything has changed. And with the whole, my life being short, my vision on everything has totally changed. And this is probably a little stupid, but since my illness is really severe, and whenever I see someone smoking, I just say to myself, why would you? It's not it's not a bad thing, but my mindset is
right.
I have cancer,
right.
and I think you have a small risk of getting cancer from it. It's just my mindset is like, go ahead.
No, you just look at you're looking at things a different kind of way, and I think what you're trying to touch base on, I believe, is why would you do the things that you do when even all of our lives are very short. They're all very short-lived. We all want to make an impression and do the right thing. I think we all have that in us. It's just how some of us go about it. I think there's an easier way to do it, or at least a more forgiving kind of way to do things. And approaching whatever subject, be it smoking, be it on a business or professional or personal level. Knowing, like, your ideals change, knowing that you have a short amount of time. You're so well spoken. I'm really in all my years, I don't think I've and I'm talking 3 decades, that I've had anybody on a radio show that I knew was going to pass within the next couple of weeks. I have people that are on board here that are out of tissues at work, and they're hearing your fight, the struggle that you had, and they wish they were at home listening to this show, but unfortunately some of these people are at work listening to this interview. Eric Erdman, giving a child a voice, and as he says, it will make the world a better place. Do check out the website. If you go to even Facebook, you'll find Eric Erdman, and Give a Child a Voice. Give his Facebook page a like. Check out the website. And I see that you have posted on your website too, Change for Children Week, February 8th through the 12th.
Yes. So this was actually a really cool thing. So what the foundation was working on. So what this is where we go to restaurants. So the foundation will go to restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll reach out to them and ask them if they would like to participate. And so what it is where the owner or the manager will ask the employees to come up with a catching kind of thing. So employee comes in, right, to the restaurant and gets the bill, and then how it works is they'll ask, would you like to round your check up to the nearest dollar, $5, $3, $10, and that amount that's rounded up, that goes back to the foundation, and then that restaurant gets publicity, gets all sorts of stuff, and so with the employees, it's actually a competition of who can get the most, because then at the end, they actually get something.
That's very nice. Again, this is all on a website where Eric Erdman is looking to make a difference, and that is across the board, and starting with kids, and knowing that they're not alone with a bullying that goes on, and there's all kinds of bullying. It's on the adult side, and it's on the kid side, and again, I think it's the way we approach things, whether we agree or disagree, but the way you approach things that makes all the difference. And you, Eric Erdman, have made a difference, and I wish I could say continued success, which I do over the next few weeks that you have left, but it certainly doesn't. You're as we know it, you're onto a better place, and no more pain, and no more pills, and no more hurt. But I'm sure your mom and your family will certainly miss you, and you certainly touched my heart, and I think people that are on board with this show with a message on bullying that that happens. And there's an event again the 17th coming up at the Franklin Township Fire Company locally that you all might want to check out, and it's certainly open to the public, and a message that Eric Erdman can relate to, and then on top of that, being diagnosed with an untreatable cancer. So, and yet, it you go forward with grace and dignity, Eric, and not even faulting the people that hurt you the most, and you still find forgiveness.
Yeah, what I found, so this is the one quote I think I have on one of the gyms, and I put, success isn't, quantified by, how long you live on this earth. It's, it's about how you can, make an impact before you're gone. And that's what I've been, living by for actually since I got diagnosed. So hopefully I can keep pushing along and make more of a dent. I'm hoping.
Well, listen, I have to thank you for this last almost 50 minutes that went by, and it just seems like we just got on the phone. So I have to thank you for for your time and to get the message out there. Again, Eric Erdman, and give a child a voice. You'll find it online. You'll find it on Facebook, and you'll find somebody that was hurt on a physical end, and also on a mental end, and yet, as I just said, goes forward with grace, dignity, compassion, and forgiveness. Maybe, just maybe, it's a lesson we all can learn from, just maybe a little bit. Eric Erdman, it's been a pleasure, and for however long you have, we will do whatever we can to further promote what you have going on, and we will certainly post a bunch of links on our Facebook page for you as well.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
It was easy,
really
right?
Fun.
This is only your second. You've been on TV and everything all over the place. This was only your second radio bid, right?
Yeah.
I encourage other radio stations that are out there, and there are plenty that listen to this show. We have all kinds of people that listen to this show. People that just want to just listen to the show to give them something to bitch about. But all I'm saying is, with all the other radio stations out there, maybe you want to do a bit on Eric Erdman yourself, because what this young adult has is nothing but a great positive message, and something that we all can use a little more of. So, Eric Erdman, thank you very much for your honesty and what you're doing to make a difference, and you're to be commended indeed.
Thank you.
And listen, we'll stay in touch. I know my people will stay in touch with your folks and your foundation, and we'll do whatever we can on our end to help you. All right?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Listen, all the best. We're going to have this interview. We'll post this on our YouTube channel, on the Colossal Radio YouTube channel, so you'll be able to go back in between video games and keeping your mind off it. You can go back and critique yourself on this radio show. How's that?
Yeah, I'll listen to myself not pronounce words right.
No, you did absolutely amazing, and I wish you the best. I wish you the best. I don't know how to end this interview, but I wish you the best, and we'll do whatever we can over the next few weeks to further your mission.
Thank you so much. I know how to end it. Done.
There you go. Done is right. Eric Erdman, thank you very much.
Lehighton, Palmerton, Gemthorpe, and nationwide, it's Colossal Radio. Find us online at colossalradio.rocks.